How you doing? So I've actually been sitting here for a while working on this 61. Well, I'm just realizing how muddy I am, or dirty. It's mud that's dried. Look at that, all over me. Comes from work, you know. But I've been working here on the 61. I think I'm pretty much done with the port work, machine work, everything. I still got to chamfer it and get the polish and the exhaust, but yeah, I think I'm pretty much done. I gotta cut a little bit of an angle here for the piston. You know, I got little things to do, but the port work is pretty much done. You want to see what I did? Here's the piston. I did change the piston choice. We decided to go with a 48 millimeter Husqvarna 365 piston. It enabled me, I don't know, a little more variety, and it ended up being easier in the end. The 262 piston, the width in here is a little tight for the connecting rod. I was going to have to modify it, and this piston goes right on. So I decided to just go ahead and go with this instead of modifying the other one. But I cut a pretty, well, I would say I cut it into a taper, and I put like a Mount Everest sized freaking pop-up in it. I'll give you a better view here in a second. I'll show you what the cylinder looks like. But I'm actually getting ready to start sharpening on some chain. I just kind of got tired of working on the 61, you know? So I am sharpening up a square chain here. My square chain, I have a 20-inch chain, maybe two of them or three of them that I've been rotating through that are on square. And I only have one that's on a 16-inch and one that's on a 24-inch. So, and the reason I'm only doing that is because it's just to help me with practice, you know, getting better at my sharpening. And that's kind of what I'm doing here. And I can tell you, this one is actually really good. I can tell that I'm getting better at it. You know what I mean? So this sharpening should come out a lot better, because as I get better at this square hand file thing, they just, you know, I get better at it. But on with that, let me kind of show you what I did here with the 61 quick. So yeah, I said I cut kind of a Mount Everest sized pop-up. And that's what I did. I even, I cut the squish band into a taper as well. So, can you see it? I got a bit of a taper on the squish band and a big old pop-up. I'm really going to try to push the compression hard on this one. You know what I mean? We'll see how she does. Now, worst case scenario, we just, you know, buy some parts and do it again. It's kind of fun playing with this stuff. This is the original ring. She's got a lot of ring gap to it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to use it because the ring gap is kind of excessive. We'll see though here in a minute. I got a new ring. We'll probably end up going with a brand new ring though. There's what the combustion chamber looks like. And basically what I did is I put sandpaper onto the top of the piston, and I just kept working it. Because of that D shape there, the pop-up would end up hitting that flat side. And I just used the sandpaper and kept working it until I had the clearance. And that's literally all I did to do that, or to clearance it for the pop-up. But, I mean, I didn't take a whole lot of material out of there. So, you know, I did a chamber cut and then I sanded it, and I really took a lot out of there. That piston, I might have to clearance the piston or to the spark plug, you know what I mean? I'm hitting it pretty hard. She's a pretty small combustion chamber right now. The exhaust, I have it widened up a bit. Still gonna do some polishing, you know, but we're getting in there. I might take a little bit more off at the top there, just to kind of give me a little smoother transition, you know what I mean? Now, you know me and fingers. I've been doing a little finger work. I gotta get in there with a diamond bit and do a little more cleanup, but that's kind of what I did for fingers, and you can get a kind of an idea of what I did with the intake there. Now the intake, I actually rounded the floor out into a little more of a V to get my intake timing that way. We'll see how she does. This cylinder ain't perfect though, you know. She's got some scoring and stuff, and I'm not really worried about it. She's good in all the important spots, if you know what I mean. And of course, you know, a bit of a chamber cut. This is the area I was saying I gotta cut a little bit more out of this here, this edge right here, just to kind of make things go smoother. That's what she looks like right now. Kind of curious to see how she runs. Now I'm pretty certain I'm gonna have to order some stuff. I got you sitting kind of crooked here. Fix that a little bit. So pretty much everything I'm touching is like wore out from a whole lot of use. The trigger lock does not function at all. It's completely wore out. The ring gap is, you know, kind of excessive. The piston was wore out enough that she was going to have, you know, she was kind of flopping around in there. And the clutch, you know, look at the way the clutch was, the condition it was in. I mean, this thing has got a lot of hours on it. And I feel like, I don't know, I didn't split the case. And part of me is like, I hope I didn't make a mistake there. I may only need to replace the seals, but we're going to soon find out. I might be putting this together and have to tear it apart again to do the crank. I mean, I could do that now. I don't have any of those parts. I'm going to see what happens here. You know, we're going to kind of see what, you know what I mean? We're going to take our chances. It only takes 10 minutes or 15 minutes to pull the top end of this thing off and get ready to split the case. So it's not like it's going to be a big deal if we do need to. You know what I mean? I think the seals might need to go though. Everything else that is a common use part or heavily used part or whatever, you know, something's common that needs replaced. Everything else pretty much needing to be replaced. So I won't be surprised if the seals need to go too. You know what I mean? I don't even know if this thing has spark. I haven't even checked it for spark. So it is what it is. So yeah, keep your eyes out. This is not a project that's going to be finished tomorrow or nothing. I don't think. I mean, technically I could polish it up and put it together. The carburetor though, I'm going to have to figure something out for that carb. I still have that 460 carb here I could try to use. You know what I mean? Got a brand new 460 carb. Would that work? I'm sure I could make it work. You know what I mean? Let me look here. Nah. This one has the bolt holes in an angle, 460 straight across. So we'll look at some other option. I have a ton of carbs sitting here. Heck, here's one. This is a home-like carburetor that I modified. This is actually set up that it will run on methanol. And it is actually set up with 2 impulses. It has the impulse in the front like normal, but then I put a second impulse here. So technically I can run 2 impulse lines into this carburetor if I'm in a situation where I have kind of a very low crankcase compression situation and I'm struggling to get impulse. This is a carb to use. But this is set up to run methanol. And I don't know. We'll see. I got a bunch of these types of carbs laying around. And I might just be able to find all the parts I need to get this original one up and functioning correctly. Because this thing is wore out. Just plain old wore out. It doesn't look like the throttle body is so bad as the throttle rod and the throttle butterfly. So we'll see what we get into or what we can find. Maybe I can just fix this carb. You know what I mean? Hey, we'll see how she progresses. still got some work to do. Right now, I'm actually working on this chain. You wanna watch? I am going to sharpen up on some square chain, and you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. I gotta put my cheaters on for this. I can't see where the squat without them. At least not these close-up things. So I'm doing it no vise anymore. And I'm sharpening the one right off the corner. I find that it helps if I roll this over the edge to sharpen with. This is still the same furred file that I started with. Just in case you're wondering, I know these files are expensive, but I'm still using the same one. It's not as quick as it once was. Sharpening, you know what I mean? Like when it was brand new, it would definitely sharpen a lot faster, but I don't know. It's almost seems more pleasant now. It just seems to give me a more polished finish. So here's the tooth that I just sharpened by hand. Let me get you. This is the tooth that I just sharpened by hand. I'm trying to get you a shot like up underneath it, so you can get an idea. See how that goes straight up and down? I'm finding that is pretty important. But that's what this one looks like. I think it could use a couple of strokes, but I'm good with that. It's a lot better than what it was. But what I do when I'm sharpening my square chain is I don't do it the whole chain all in one session anymore. Jody suggested not doing the whole chain in one session. They said do some and come back later and do more. So I've been doing that, and I'm finding I'm enjoying that more, if you know what I mean. It seems after I get to about the fourth tooth, once I get through it, it's like all the muscle memory comes back and I can just go to town. Right now I kind of got the camera in my way, so it's a little awkward. This chain was a round chain, and I found the first time I took it from a round to a square, that was the worst one. After that, they start to get better. It's just not as hard, if you know what I mean. But I will say, anybody who is worried about spending $30 on a file because you're used to files that go bad pretty quick, I've done a lot of sharpening on this file. It still hasn't gone bad. It actually feels like it's in its prime right now. It removes a good amount of material, but it's not so aggressive. You know what I mean? Boy, this one's sharpening up a lot faster than what I normally do. I think just because of how close I've got it to the way I want it now. Well, I don't think I'm gonna bore you to death with any more sharpening. I don't know. I get bored watching it. You know what I mean? Maybe you picked up on something, one or two things, you know what I mean? I do have two files though for the square. This is a Ferd. This is a Valorby. You can see there's a difference in size. The Valorby gives you a better finish, but it clogs up way more than the Ferd. So, you know what I mean? Personally, if you're going to go to square hand filing, I'd suggest owning both, because they both have, you know, They both come in handy. So having both is worth it. Not a lot going on in here tonight. I just figured I'd kick the camera on and have a little conversation. Kind of show you what we're doing. Working on this 61. The more I work on the 61, the more I'm anxious to get it running. I'm not expecting it to be some extreme high performance thing, but I just want it to cut firewood and cut firewood well. You know what I mean? I do have the squish set at 20 thousandth. I feel like I probably should have gone a little higher than that, but I can do that later. You know what I mean? I can always go in and make a squish adjustment without changing my numbers. It's literally just taking a little bit more out of the chamber, and you know, it doesn't really change any of your numbers. Another 5 thousandths isn't, you know, you'll hardly notice that. I could even go 10 and it would barely even be noticeable. So, you know what I mean? I think I might do that later. I might do it before I put her together. But right now it is sitting at exactly 20 thousandths, and she's probably gonna have a bit of thump from the compression, because I did do a pretty hefty adjustment to the compression. So yeah, we'll have to see how she runs, you know what I mean? But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this evening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Later.